What's good, hip hop? It's your man, Mr. White 614. This is my Clipse. Let God Sort 'Em Out album review, brought to you by the good folks at the Bar Exam. All right, man, let's talk Let God Sort 'Em Out. This is the fourth studio offering from the dynamic duo known as Malice and Pusha T. Of course, they each have their own individual projects under their belts as well. The entirety of the production on this album was handled by Pharrell, formerly of the Neptunes, which is wild. I didn't realize they had made that split official, but apparently that is the case, and that's all Pharrell on this album. Some noteworthy collaborations would include Kendrick Lamar, Tyler, the Creator, and Nas. And of course, you know, I'm just one listener out here, one set of ears. The views and opinions expressed in this review are mine and mine alone. You may feel different, and that's fine. We can discuss it because that's what we're here for. All I ask is that you keep it hip hop, keep it respectful. All right, so let's get off into this. All right, man, so y'all know I go into these projects with no expectations, open ears, and all that good stuff. And after having listened to Let God Sort 'Em Out in its entirety and been listening to this project for about a week now, to quote the late Dennis Green, Clipse are who we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? If I had to describe this project with one word, that one word would be consistent. As in, it is consistent with work that they've done previously in the past. The difference for me is the production. Like Pharrell, he produced like he out of his mind on this joint. Like he's still trying to pay rent and put some food in the fridge. You know what I'm saying? And that's the big difference for me, because when I first heard Lord Willin', I was not a fan of that project. Even though I know a lot of y'all cats are, I really could not stand Neptune production like that. On top of the fact that I know that they can't help but sound like each other vocally due to the fact that they twins, but the fact that they also rap alike and things like that, it makes it harder for me to differentiate the two of them. And I know some of y'all have tried to point out the differences to me, saying that, well, Malice's vocals are more smoother, or in the case of this album goes, a lot of y'all are saying that Malice actually carried this project lyrically. For me, I just listen to them like they want MC, to be honest, even though I know I'm listening to two different cats. It just makes it easier on my brain and on my ears. So with that being said, there's a lot of dope songs on here. You know, do I like some songs more than others? Most definitely, but wouldn't necessarily classify them as skippers. Well, there's definitely one. But outside of that, you can pretty much let this album play and let it go from front to back and not mess with it. You feel me? That being said, though, let's go ahead and get off into this track list a little bit. I want to apologize ahead of time for the smooth sounds of grass being cut in the background of my production, yet we press on. So I don't know about y'all. However, I was not expecting this album to open up as heavy as it did with The Birds Don't Sing. That's the collaboration that they have with John Legend. It is a tribute to their dad that passed away. And once again, it is the very first song on this album. Now, when it comes to artists opening up on songs like this, I don't necessarily look at them as being good or bad songs. I will say this though, I would not recommend listening to this song unless you're somewhere where you can be by yourself and process your thoughts. Otherwise, you're gonna be in public somewhere with your earbuds in, having the ugliest cry you ever had in your life, thinking about your people, right? So once again, the birds don't sing. You've been warned. But beyond that, this album opens up pretty slow for me to the halfway point. You got tracks like POV, which again, I could listen to today, I could skip tomorrow. But shout out to Tyler, the Creator, because he absolutely showed up and showed out on that. Best 16, hands down. So Be It. So Be It is the track where Malice should have took that beat by himself. He should have took that and ran with it, made that a solo song. If that's him on the second verse, yeah, he should have took that and ran with it. And then you got Ace Trumpets. Ace Trumpets is a hard skip, bro. A hard skip. I actually heard Ace Trumpets before the album came out. And as soon as I heard Yellow Diamonds Look Like PP, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to have the answer, Sway, but we'll see. That actually would not have been my choice for a single. My choice would have been Mike Tyson, Blow to the Face. That's my favorite song on the album. Might be one of the best songs on the album. An argument can be made between that and FICO. With Stove God Cooks on the hook, that's like 1 and 1A as far as my favorites go. And then you got a track like So Far Ahead. So Far Ahead is the track that Ace Trumpets was trying to be. Like, I like that one way better than Ace Trumpets, right? But then you got By the Grace of God, which is one of those songs you can gather meaning from it, or you can skip it, or whatever. But yeah, it's there, you know. And then you got tracks like Inglorious Bastards and Let God Sort 'Em Out / Chandeliers. And I point these tracks out because I was not expecting, shout out to DJ Clue, man. I was not expecting those throwback Clue ad-libs. Them shits had me so hyped, like, wow, bro. Like, it really had me feeling like I was back in like '02 listening to a professional or something like that. So yeah, and on like Let God Sort 'Em Out, bro, the song is so maddening. I love that song and I hate it at the same time. And I only hate it because why did Pharrell switch that beat up, man? Why did he do that, bro? Like, and here's the thing. I get it. It's Nas. You know what I'm saying? Nas, it's Nas. I understand, but you didn't have to switch the beat up for Nas, you know? And for everybody that's kind of down on his verse, like, oh, his 16 was whack, whatever. I'm like, bro, first of all, I think it was a freestyle. You know, I think he freestyled that. But more importantly, I'm like, what do y'all want? What were y'all expecting? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see anything wrong with it, but again, this is why we have these discussions. You feel me? So like I say, all in all, you can press play and walk away from this album just for the production alone, in my opinion. But as far as like song content and stuff goes, it could go either way with about a good third of it, for real. Production-wise, I'm going A on these beats, dog. Listen, I don't know where Pharrell had to go mentally to lock in to do these beats, but if he stays in that space, it's going to be a problem for a lot of other producers out here, for real, bro. And it's funny because my mans and them has said that these beats sound like the kind of beats that Nas would rap to. And after he said that, I haven't been unable to hear Nas on these beats, but I'm not going to let that diminish the fact that Pharrell was definitely in his bag on this production, bro. Now, there's some I like more than others, absolutely, but overall, for me, the production is what carried this project. All right, so where do I stand with this project overall? If you are a core grassroots Clipse fan, you'll be pleased with this project. If you never heard of Clipse before, never heard a Clipse album, and you started with this project, I don't think you'd be mad at what it is that you're hearing. But beyond that, don't take my word for it. If you want to hear Let God Sort 'Em Out in its entirety, just head to wherever it is that you stream your music at. I, of course, rock with YouTube Music or wherever it is you get your hard copies. And with that, I want to say peace to all my fellow lovers, supporters, followers, and practitioners of the hip-hop culture. I am Mr. White 614. This has been The Bar Exam. Peace.